Hey, Brian, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Can you just start with what the contact you've had with Mike, and to what level is he involved today, even though you'll be here running practice?
Yeah, I've had a couple phone calls with him today. He's doing great. He's obviously very involved. The good thing is, the way we game plan, we do a lot of things early, right? We front load stuff. We've talked about that. Should we get through first, second down, third down on really Monday and Tuesday, which is great. So he's been very involved. He's doing great. He's in good spirits, and it's always good when he's got a lot of suggestions when you're talking to him on the phone. But, well, hey, what do you think about it? So that's when I know he's feeling good.
Also, too, I know you've talked about, and also Mike, about Thursday night when you get together with Dak and kind of go through what you saw in practice that week, what works and done. How big is that? And I assume he'll be a part of that by Zoom tonight?
Absolutely, yeah. Again, we're going to do the same process. Nothing's going to change. We are full speed ahead and feel really good about it. Today's an important day for the work practice, the part of practice, put the pads on, get out there. Guys have had some time off, and yesterday we kind of dusted off some of the stuff, put them in shells, but yeah, we're full steam ahead. Everything basically works as normal.
Clarence Hill, Star Telegram, just to piggyback, did you talk to him at all last night?
I did.
Oh, you did? So
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did he talk football?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah. You can't. Hey, you can't have a conversation with Mike and he's going to talk about two things: football and Pittsburgh. And so I don't know if the Pittsburgh thing came up, but football definitely came up. Yeah. So yeah. And if you talk to him long enough, I probably got off because I had things to do. Pittsburgh would have come up. Yeah, for sure. So
you did talk to him last
Yes.
night. Is the plan for him to still be on the field Sunday and call plays? Where are y'all at in that process?
yeah, like I said, full steam ahead. Well, we don't anticipate anything different. Again, he's involved in all the things. We'll have a long conversation again this afternoon. He's watching the practices, and yeah, full steam ahead.
Dak talked yesterday that he would probably be a little grumpy, upset, pissed off, about not being here in such an important week. I mean, what is his spirits like, mentality like?
Yeah, again, Dak's probably right. He does have a little bit of that temper in him, but again, I think more than anything, he feels good. Again, great awareness of him to listen to your body, right? We've all been there. Like in this profession, I know I've been around coaches. I've probably done it myself, right? You're like, I feel off, and then you don't do anything. And but he's in good spirits. He's excited. Now we have something else in common. I don't have an appendix either. I actually, quick story, bore you guys with it, but mine was removed the day after the 1987 AFC Championship game, the fumble. So my dad and the Browns lost a tough game out there in Denver, and I watched it at home in Cleveland. They flew back. I kept complaining about my stomach. Like when they got home at like 3 o'clock in the morning the next day, they were like, no, you're fine. They took me in, and I had to have mine removed. So the Schottenheimers lost both on Sunday and then that next day when I had to have my appendix removed. 1987, I would have been 14. So, but I'm sure that's the last place my dad wanted to go to was the Cleveland Clinic after losing to Denver, right? And then have to go meet doctors, talk to nurses, and all that stuff. So, point is, Mike and I have something now in common. Neither one of us have an appendix.
Brian Schottenheimer with ESPN. Mike, you said if you're going to call it, you got to install it. So you warming up in the bullpen?
No, we've both called it and installed it enough. Again, I feel really great that he's in a good spot. He's going to be ready to roll, and this conversation with Dak tonight is going to be great because again, look, we've been doing this a long time together. This would probably be a little bit of a more difficult challenge week 1 or 2, but like this thing's a pretty well-oiled machine, and we take great influence from Dak. He's very involved. Like I said, Mike really hasn't missed anything. I mean, he missed a practice, but for the most part, the game plan's been put together. We're way far ahead. We know this team. We know the opponent. We know they're good. Played them, 5 or 6 weeks ago. So, again, we're in a really good spot. And, again, excited to get out to practice today and see our guys run around and, more importantly, kind of warm those pads up.
How much have things changed from what we've seen from Philadelphia from 5 weeks ago to now?
They're still really good. It still starts up front. The defensive line, they're as deep as any in the league. I think they've got 7 or 8 guys that they roll through, and they really don't have a drop off. They're built that way really on both sides of the ball. So the secondary and the experience of the secondary with the 2 edge pieces with James and Darius Slay. And the safeties, I think Adam Byard was good. I think he looks more comfortable now when you watch Kevin run around out there in that system. I think when we played him, he'd only been there a week or so. But they do a nice job of disguising coverages and making us work both pre-snap and post-snap. But it's going to be a fun battle, and they're talented. Again, it should be a cool evening game on Sunday night.
Saudis, The Athletic. Brian, we've asked you a lot about Dak and him winning trust with his teammates, but I'm curious, as a coordinator, as a coach, how did you kind of develop that trust with him where he trusts you, you trust him, and especially in the heat of the moment of the game that, if you guys say one thing to each other, you guys kind of are on the same page? Yeah,
cool question. It really starts with spending time together. I mean, you think about how much time we spend together, like, going back to the off season when they got back, training camp, countless meetings, practices, walkthroughs. But even before that, I think you have to learn each other as people. You guys know how I feel about Dak as a young man. He's special. His heart's special for people. I think I'm a pretty good guy as well. So I think there's respect in that regard. We treat people right. We're not afraid to tell people we love them, we care about them. And so I think from that standpoint, it was a very natural fit, but then it just kind of comes down to time spent and discussions not just about football, which we have a ton of those, but about life. We're blessed. I'm blessed to be the coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm blessed to coach all these young men. But spending time with Dak is special, and I would think and would hope that he'd say the same thing about me.
And with Jake Ferguson, I know we've asked you a lot about him too, but and you talked about his blocking, his pass catching, all that. What has impressed you the most about him in this year two jump for him?
It's funny. We were watching some of the film from last game, just looking for some different formation ideas and things, and the style of play does not go unnoticed. Like whenever there's, I don't want to phrase it, whenever there's a minor altercation, right? Fergie's always in there. Like he's like the big brother almost. And for a young player that's really coming into his own, to see that confidence to where like, hey, I got my brother's back. Hey, they're going to push this guy late, shove this guy, they're going to hit him late. What I think, Fergie's there. And that does not go unnoticed by his teammates. They see it, they respect it, and I think that's one of the things that, again, maybe you guys don't see or the fans don't see. You see the great plays and the run blocks and things like that, but like when there's after the whistle stuff, Fergie's usually in there kind of patrolling, and again, immediate respect from his teammates for that.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, CD has 318 yards on go routes this year, which is the third most by any player on an individual route this season. What makes a great deep ball, and what is it about Dak to CD on that route that makes that so dangerous for you?
Yeah, I think number one, it starts with the release. We talk about jumping out of our shoes. Like everything in this system comes off the vertical or the go ball. So that starts with what? Jumping out of your shoes. What's that mean? It means versus off versus press. We don't want them dancing at the line of scrimmage. We don't want them, kind of firing their feet. We want them going. And then once you do that, then you should at least capture the leverage. And then there's a point where the receiver needs to stack the defensive back. So the defensive back, when you run a go route, he's taught to lean into you and try to, shorten the space of the window. We have actually, you guys see it, a red line out there in practice. CeeDee's got a very natural ability to stack and get on top, or at least hold off the DB. That coincides with Dak's ability to throw the ball with good air because he trusts CeeDee. He knows CeeDee's going to be able to make the play on the ball, contested or not, 50-50 ball or not, which allows him to do a really good job holding the safety. Safeties in this league, they play deep. They're able to get, most of them can run really, really well, and so it's a number of things. But I think there's a part of it that goes back to just the me to you factor. They've been throwing go balls together for a long time, and that's important as well.
Ed.
Brian Edwarder, ESPN. For the most part, recently, Dak's been very well protected, but in the Philly game, I think he was sacked 5 times. They had their best pass rush win rate in that game, and Terrence Steele in particular struggled with his matchups. How do you solve that issue going into this game? How do you sort of rebuild the confidence of a player at right tackle who didn't play well in that last game?
Yeah, again, they definitely they got after us. They did a nice job. There's some things we looked at schematically that I obviously won't address in here that we can do a little bit better, but I don't worry about Terrence. I mean, hey, they got good players. We got good players. When you're out there on an island, whether you're playing corner and receiver, whether you're playing tackle, whatever it is, right, you're going to get exposed to some one-on-one matchups. And I have no doubt in my mind that Terrence is going to go in this game, just like all the linemen, very, very confident. And, again, it comes down to fundamentals and techniques, and there's pass sets, and there's leverage, and there's hand usage and stuff like that. That's for everybody. And that's the cool thing for us. We haven't been able to go pads in a while because of the schedule and playing the 3 games in 12 days. Well, today we get a chance to put pads on, and so we'll be able to work that stuff, which is a really good lead-up, Ed, to the game Sunday night.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. We talk a lot about CD and Dak since that 49er game. How delicate is that quarterback-receiver relationship can be at times?
Well, they can all be emotional. We all can, right? We all have, I'll say egos. We all do. Not necessarily a bad thing. The cool thing about these guys is they do talk, you know, and that comes over time, you know. Sometimes Dak will say something that CD's like, I saw it this way. Then they watch it, and CD's like, yeah, I agree. And then it goes the other way. Sometimes they'll talk about it, and Dak will be like, no, I see what you saw there. And when you have a tandem like that, as long as they're communicating, usually great things happen. And it doesn't matter whether it's Andrew Luck and, you know, T.Y. Hilton, DK, Tyler, Russ. I mean, when there's communication and there's conversation, that's what you want the young players to learn. Like we literally do. We point it out to the young players, like JT, JB. We're like, hey, see what those guys are doing? They're like, what do you mean? Like, they're talking. They're looking at the service. And you want to teach them that if you're talking to the QB, the guy that's got the ball, and he understands what you're thinking, then more than likely he's going to probably throw it to you because you guys are on the same page with the route. So, again, it's not just the actual physical rep. It's the communication of post-practice, on the field, watching the surfaces, using the technology, and those guys are two of the best at it.
How much are you a sounding board for both? Or
you know, I'm involved, but you know, again, as a leader, you got to know when to step away a little bit, and they certainly can handle it on their own. And then when we get in and we watch it as a unit, you know, I'll usually point some things out. And again, it's not I'm right, they're wrong, I'm wrong, they're right. It's just, hey, let's communicate, and then, hey, how do we want to proceed moving forward? We're going to do it this way. And then all egos that I just talked about go aside, and hey, let's go do it for the best of the team.
Sarah Merrifield, CBS Sports Texas. I think this team's clearly evolved since that San Francisco game. You know, you're looking back at the Eagles loss, of course, a couple weeks ago. Where do you feel like, from your perspective, the biggest point of growth or maturity from this group is from that last loss and even from San Francisco?
Yeah, I just, you know, I think that there's, like we talked about, there's a confidence. The bye came at the right time, the full bye. That came at the right time for us. We were able to make some adjustments, make some changes. I think I've talked before about the offensive line, you know, getting those 5 guys back together, one of the top units in the league. That's part of it. And then again, I think it just comes down to the intentionality of the way our guys have, from that San Francisco game, have worked in practice. And you guys don't see the blood and guts of it, right? You guys see the initial part of it. But like, I mean, today's practice will be, it'll be up tempo. It's going to have juice. It's going to have energy. We're going to be running. We're going to be hitting. And that's how you know you've got a really good football team, is that they step out there when you put the pads on, especially this time of year, and you can almost hear the practice going on and you feel the energy. That's when you know you've got a great locker room, a great culture, which we do, and these guys always answer the bell.
Newey.
It was Scruggs, ABC 5. Brian, is Tyron going to participate in the full pad practice today? And from a penalty standpoint, how do the Cowboys cut down on this? You had 10 when you played Philadelphia the last time around. You had 9 last week against the Seahawks, one of the most penalized teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we need to emphasize. You know, I know there's going to be penalties post-snap. That happens, right? You play a violent game, a combative game, that's going to happen. Where we got to be better is the pre-snap stuff, and those are things that we work. Cadence has become a weapon. I've heard there's a song out there about our cadence and stuff, but it has been a weapon for us. So it's really more the discipline of the pre-snap stuff. We like to move, we like to shift, we like to do a lot of those different things, and to do that, there's a responsibility of all of us to make sure that we're doing it the right way and we're in tune and all that stuff, and that comes from practice, number one. And then, again, with Tyron, he's on the same protocol. And, again, the cool thing about having veteran linemen, I remember being with the Jets, like you've got guys that have played so much football that they get what they need, and then you don't want to have to tax them. Shoot, we had a over 30 club, I think, in New York, because we had LaDainian Tomlinson, Tony Richardson, Damian Woody. We had all these guys, and we're mindful of that. But it'll be a good practice today.
In the Week 9 game at Philly, Dak's 3 touchdowns, just all 3 happened to go to second-year guys making their league with Ferguson and Turpin and Tolbert. Is that just the way it happened specifically on those plays, or were there certain matchups? CD put up some numbers
Sure.
in terms of scoring that Philly was trying to do with Cooks and Lamb.
You know, looking back at the game, I've certainly watched it over the last couple of days, but not really. I think it's just kind of where the ball goes sometimes. I know, like, JT was an above the 2.3. It was a scramble. Again, we really do believe it. We tell the guys, hey, we have progressions, right? All of our progressions have a starting point, whether we're working different ways, whether middle triangle, strong side triangle, they all have progressions that the quarterbacks know. But we really do believe this. The first open receiver gets the ball. So if you're number one and you get open, then the ball should come to you. And that talks a little bit to what I said about watching a quarterback's feet. And if we're doing a good job schematically building things, formations, motions, movements, putting the pieces in the right place, then we should, more times than not, get your first or second progression open. And that's where you'll see Dak be really firm and really aggressive off his back foot. But now you've also watched us over the last 4, 5, 6 games be able to extend plays. He's getting outside the pocket. The guys are reacting really, really well. And that just adds a whole nother level to your offense. And it makes you much more difficult to defend, because if they do stop your early progressions, then there's a whole nother component that they have to be willing to defend. And that's been something that we've been really good at as of late.
Last one with Michael.
Michael Gilkin, Dallas Morning News. A couple questions about today's practice. One, I think there's gusts of up to 40 miles per hour right now. Are you guys going to go indoors to avoid that going into an indoor game?
Again, we're going to start outside, see what it looks like. I will not be throwing many pat and go balls today because my tight wobbler kind of gets knocked sideways a little bit. But again, we'll see where it goes. We're going to start outside, and again, we'll play in any elements. The fact of having a beautiful dome is something we'll take into consideration, and we'll get out there and see.
And then you mentioned padded practice today. You guys are running pretty short supply of those that are allotted for the rest of the year. How do you get the most out of a rare now padded practice late in the year, and how do you transition to non-padded practices? How do you get the most out of those?
Yeah, well, Mike does a really good job of taking care of the guys. We're obviously aware, like we talked about, the short window, but this is the perfect time to do it. Why? We're coming off of a stretch where I think yesterday was the first time in a long time we've actually had our guys really open and up full speed and run, of course with shells on. Today's a chance for them to get back into working their fundamentals, striking, leverage. Like, again, you need work. You need double teams. The defense needs the ability to shed blocks and things like that. So, again, it's the perfect time to do it. But you guys know Mike. He's so organized and detailed. He's got it allotted. And, again, he uses them the right way. But, again, when we're practicing really well, which we have lately, and which I'm sure we will today, we go into games with a ton of confidence. And so, again, our guys will work, they'll put in the work, and when they do that, they feel great going out there on Sunday.
All righty.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Brian.